Example 2. Michael Jordan had 36 days to prepare for the season. He spent 50% of his time practicing free throws, 1/3 of his time practicing three-pointers, and the rest of his time practicing field goals. What percent of the time does Michael Jordan spend on field goals? So I'm going to show you how to solve this problem using multiplication. Okay. So we know he spent 50% of his time practicing free throws. Okay. Now I'm going to use this formula, which is whole times percent equals part. The thing is that I cannot use a percent. I'm going to have to convert it to a decimal first. So you guys are really good at this. We're going to make our butt. So I know my decimal points here. So 1, 2, that becomes 0.50. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use to multiply. So I know my whole was 36 times 0.50. Okay, when I multiply that, it'll give me my part. So 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Add another 0 on the bottom. 5 times 6 is 30. Add the 3 on top. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 3, which is 18. Now when I add that up, I get 1800. Okay, now I need to move the decimal point here. So if we look here, we see that the decimal point is 1, 2 spaces to the left. So I'm going to move that 1, 2, which gives me 18. So Michael Jordan spent 18 days practicing his free throws. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing for, I believe it was the three-pointers. Okay, so he spent 1/3 of his time practicing three-pointers. I know that 1/3 is 0.33, and it keeps going. So I'm just going to use 0.33. Okay, so use same formula, whole times percent as a decimal. Don't forget, it has to be a decimal. Will equal to your part. So again, 36 times 0.33. Okay, so 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1, so that's 10. Okay, add the 0. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9 plus that 1. That is 10. Go ahead and add that up. So 8, 8, 1, 1. And same thing, I need to move the decimal point. So if I see that the decimal point is 1, 2 spaces to the left, I'm going to move it 1, 2, which gives me 11.88. Now, I'm going to round up because it's time, right? We can't really use 11.88 days. So we're going to round it up to 12 days. So he spent 12 days practicing his free throws. Now, for those who like visuals, I like visuals. It helps me understand things. So if we look at the percent strips, we did this for a little bit. I drew a percent strip for free throws. Now, 100% is my 36. He spent 50% of his time practicing free throws. So when I shade this in, it should show half, because half of 100 is 50%. So 36 divided by 2, because every time you're cutting something in half, just divide it by 2, which gives you 18. Now for three-pointers, I don't know why it says two-pointers, sorry about that. Again, my whole is 36. We know that he spent 1/3 of his time practicing those three-pointers. So you see how I cut the strip into thirds. So it's 1, 2, 3 parts. And he spent 1/3 of his time practicing three-pointers. So if I just divide 36 by 3, which gives me 12. Okay, and to check that, 12 plus 12 is 24, and 24 plus 12 is 36. There's my whole. So that shows that 12 is 1/3 of 36. So again, this is really good if you need that visual. Please use these percent strips. If you're good with multiplication of decimals, great. But this also helps you check your work. Okay, so now our next step is to find the difference. So I know that 18 plus 12 equals 30. Okay, so I need all these numbers to add up to equal to 36. So I'm missing a number. So all I'm going to do is subtract 36 minus 30, which gives me 6. So to check that, 18 plus 12, 30 plus 6 equals 36. So we know that he spent 6 days practicing field goals. But we're not done. We're not looking for the total number of days that he spent on field goals. We're looking for the percent. So this part you guys are really good at. Now that we found our part and we know our whole, just simply make a fraction. And look at the denominator. If the denominator cannot be converted to a perfect 100, first simplify before you do top dog in the house. So 6 divided by 36. I know both numbers are divisible by 6, so 6 divided by 6 is 1. 36 divided by 6 is 6, so I have 1/6. Now let's do top dog in the house. So 1 goes inside, so 1 divided by 6. 6 goes into 1 0 times. Add my decimal point behind the 0, add a 0 behind the 1. 6 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract that. 10 minus 6 is 4. Add the 0. 6 goes into 40 6 times. So 6 times 6 is 36. 40 minus 36 is 4. Add another 0. Drop that down. And looks like it's just going to keep going. So I'm going to stop there. Now I know my decimal is 0.166. Just move the butt, 1, 2, and that gives me my percent. So to check this, you can just add up all of our percent. So we know that it's 50% plus 16.6% plus, and then 1/3 as a percent is 33.33%. So when I add up all of these numbers, I'm going to go ahead and erase everything. So, sorry, I'm going to rewrite it. 50% plus 33.33%. I'm going to add that up. Okay, so I get 83 plus 16.66 because we knew it run on. So 6 plus 3 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9, and 8 plus 1 is 9. So I get 99.99%. So we're going to round that up to 100%. So we know that all our work that we just did in the last 8 minutes is correct.